So this was your opportunity to catch her while she's gonna, I mean, theoretically be gone for 10 months, right? Was the
Yeah,
idea. And
this
so
was one
you're
of
coming
those.
to, yeah.
Yeah. So then we were there. So we did Australia. So now we're at 5, right? And then all we had left was supposedly after this was South America and Antarctica. So we were like, wow, we're
Yeah.
we're motoring along.
Because you did that within 2 years?
2 years.
Yeah.
All of that was within 2 years. Yeah.
And it was just kind of a lucky how that came about. Like if I had still been in my job, probably wouldn't have been able to do it that quickly. So it just kind of worked out.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So then I left. I was in Australia there for I don't know what it was, 10 days or something, and then Chelsea went back to her volunteer work, and then the goal was for me to come join for 2 months of her kind of Asia little circuit, and I was going to come and join. And when she was finished with her volunteering in India, I was going to come join in India, and then we were going to spend 2 months kind of doing a modified version of the banana pancake route, going to Thailand and Vietnam and Cambodia and doing the whole thing. And yeah, I flew out of Montana March 9th of 2020.
Brutal.
So,
Brutal.
it was my first indicator because obviously in Montana we live in a bubble where it takes a while for news to reach here, and so we don't really know what's happening outside of Montana. And I remember meeting with like friends, and my friends being like, "Is this COVID thing? Is it safe to go to Asia right now?" And I'm like, "Oh, don't worry about it." Like nobody was ever concerned about like COVID hitting the U.S. Like it wasn't even like a thought process. It was like, "Oh, you're gonna go to Asia? They've got that COVID thing over there." And I was like, "Oh, it's not in Southeast Asia. It's just in like more in China." And I was flying to India, and the route went through Japan, which they had just started having an outbreak there when I was going through. And my first indicator that like things were not going to be going well was the Seattle airport. I got an email like as I'm about to leave from the Indian government, and the Indian government's like, "We're not allowing anybody who's been to China or Japan in the last 2 weeks to enter." And I'm like, I'm flying through Japan. And so I'm like trying to read this email. I'm like, but it doesn't say anything about transiting through because technically I'm not going to Japan. So I decided I was going to go for it. So I went and I flew through Japan, and that flight from Seattle to Japan was like, there was maybe 20 people on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, uh-oh. And then I ended up getting on the plane. Japan was like the airport was a ghost town. It was just like the only people that were there were like workers, and they were in like full hazmat suits walking around. And it felt like the beginning of the zombie movie because it's like, where am I and what is happening? And then I got on the plane to Japan, and there was maybe 5 people on the entire flight from Japan to India. I was just like walking around the plane like it was mine.
It's not a short flight.
No, not at all. And so I ended up getting to India, and then I got to India, and it was like, I know India is chaos normally, but it was even more chaotic because like nobody knew where to go. It was like, if you've been to Japan, you need to go to this line. If you are coming from here, you go here. If you do this, and like we need to screen you, but like nobody knew how to screen because nobody knew what COVID was. So
It
like
was all new. Yeah.
and I was like asking people, I was like, I transited through Japan, but I didn't go through customs, so I never technically entered Japan. And they're like, you need to go to the Japan line. And I like waited for like an hour in the Japan line for them to be like, you're in the wrong line. You need to go to the other line. I'm like, fantastic. So yeah, our Southeast Asia trip was very interesting. We did the Holi Festival in India, which was really fun. I got E. coli, which was awesome.
Less fun.
That's fun.
The classic Delhi Belly. See, this is when it is useful to be a vegetarian because I was vegetarian the whole month I was in India and I never got sick.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
I ate buttered chicken. Buttered chicken was maybe not the move.
No.
But yeah, so then we went from there to Myanmar and loved it there. It was so amazing. But yeah, it was the writing was on the wall that tourism was not going to keep going because we got in and they like messaged us or emailed us and they're like, hey, we're ceasing all visas starting tomorrow. We're not going to allow anybody to get new ones. So like, if you get in before that, you'll be able to get in. We're like, great. So we were like the only tourists in Myanmar because they'd all left and like they weren't letting anybody else in and we were there. So we're in like Old Bagan, like there's nobody. And we did like the hike from Kala to Inle Lake, and like that's usually a very popular tourist hike. Nobody on that hike. We got to Inle Lake, stayed at this fancy resort, and it was just us.
Yeah, that was like eerie. Like it was kind of creepy.
was.
It's this massive resort, and we were the only two guests. Like it was at that point, we are like, this is like a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We're like having dinner
Yeah,
in like this
weird.
grand dining room that can like fit 500 people, and it's like just us, and we're just like, okay, this is getting weird. And then a lot of countries were already starting to shut down. So like Vietnam was off because they were already shut down, so we had to cut that out of our trip. And then like we were like, let's just go to Laos, and then we'll go there, and we'll maybe just be there for a little longer than originally planned. And we got there, and same thing, they shut their visas down the next day, so we were the last ones let in. And we're just like, let's hang out here for a little bit and just see what happens. And then that's when like we got to our hotel and we checked in, and like we like looked at our phones, and we had all these messages from people because the State Department had issued like the level 4 travel advisory, and we're basically like, come home now or prepare to shelter in place indefinitely.
Right.
And we're just like, I think we got to go home. And we've been putting it off. And so we ended up booking 15 flights to Thailand because they kept getting canceled, and then flights home, and like they just kept getting canceled. And we finally, like, we got to Bangkok, and I remember like the board just being like, cancels, like literally every single flight canceled except for ours. And we're just like, get on in, let's go, let's get out of here, and like we can figure it out when we get to the US or something. But
When did you actually get back?
I think it ended up being like 3 weeks.
Okay. So
It
not
was supposed to
long.
be 2 months, ended up being
Yeah.
3 weeks. And Chelsea was supposed to be supposed to be there for another like 6 months or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, I had a teaching job in Australia for like 2 months that was supposed to start in May. And obviously that didn't happen. But yeah, it had just gotten to the point of, I know we're on a tangent right now, but it had just gotten to the point where it was like not fun anymore.
Yeah.
Like there was too much uncertainty and like not knowing if we could get into places or like what the medical care would be in certain places because nobody really knew what COVID was doing. So yeah, I mean, the initial decision was hard. We were like, can we wait this out? Like we're going to be here for a few weeks. And yeah, I mean, it was just like, no, we're not having fun.
Yeah. Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah. Wah, wah.
Yeah.
But that's how I emergently moved to Montana.
Yeah.
With like nothing but some shorts. I think Jackie actually
Well, actually, Jackie
provided-
let me her winter gear.
Yeah. And like provided
Oh,
Jackie
man.
went and got my car from my house and dropped off the airport. And of course, like nobody wanted to touch us because we were technically in quarantine for the next 2 weeks. And so we came home, and Jackie went and dropped off my car with like a little care package, including some very valuable toilet paper